Thanks. Thanks, James. My name's Mike. I'm an alcoholic. Yes. Been through the process with the help of a Big Book Step Study sponsor. Loving God, these meetings with people. I've made most of my amends, and I continue to work on steps 10, 11, and 12. A little nervous, don't know what to say. Step 3, I just give you a little background first, real quick about, for somebody who's new and thinking about doing this process. I first got sober in 2001 and joined Big Book meetings and got a sponsor and got active in those groups. I made coffee, and I was greeter, I was a treasurer, I was a GSR. I did all this stuff, I got active in AA and called my sponsor every day, did all that stuff, my sponsor suggested I get on like antidepressants because I wasn't really feeling good, and he was on them, and I was like, well, that's got to be my problem, I'll get on antidepressants too, and I'm not suggesting that, I'm just saying my story, eventually I went back out at like 2005. I just wasn't getting this AA thing, I wasn't happy, joyous, and free like everybody was saying at these meetings, and I kept coming, and I was going to sometimes 2-3 meetings a day and saying, what the hell's wrong with me, I was really, really sad. I was taking the antidepressants, and I said, what? And I really didn't even know if I was a real, true alcoholic still at that point. And going through Big Books with the sponsor, I went back out, and it was a nice day. I was cutting the grass, and it was a hot day, something like today. And I was like, got some beer, and I said, I'm going to have a beer after I cut this grass. And, that 4 years, it was a waste of time, I wasn't feeling any better not drinking, and I went back out and had a beer, and, as soon as I had that beer, I knew something was wrong, I knew what that physical thing was going on, all of a sudden I was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I knew, once I had one, I had to keep drinking. Now I knew for sure, what they were talking about in these meetings, for sure. I was in big trouble. But, I was gonna, control it. I'll take it easy, so that was 2005. And then, long story short, 2007 comes, ton of wreckage. I ended up spending 30 days in jail one time, prison, that was a lot, for me, one day was a lot, but spending 30 days in jail was crazy. And I had to call my parents, hey, could you watch my dog, and stuff like that. I won't be into work for the next 30 days. That was a little crazy. And but when I got out of jail, 30 days, it's not much. It wasn't no big charge, but convicted felon now, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. After I got out, I'm like, this is it. I'm done drinking, that's for sure. I am done. I'm never going to drink again, no matter what. Obviously, got me into trouble, and I'm not, so I lasted about 10 days, and I'm back to drinking. So long story short, I went into treatment. Went into day treatment after all these court appearances and parents giving me a hard time and brother and saying, you got to do something or we're going to call you a parole officer. And so I was like, yeah, all right. I'm going to go into treatment. And that's what I did. I went into this 10-day treatment, and then I went to like a 6-week at night. And, I was kind of cool. And I was away from alcohol, hanging out with people just like me with only a few days a week, 4 days, 5 days, trying to, just get separated from alcohol. And kind of the same thing happened again, I stayed sober, away from alcohol for like 2 years, and I'm like, geez, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I just can't, guys said just don't drink, go to meetings, your life will, get better and all that stuff. And I'm like, why isn't my life getting better? What's wrong with me, And I was at this Alcathon around one of these holidays, and guy, Buddy, I don't know if you guys know him, but he followed me out of a meeting one day, and I was like, at one of these Alcathons, and I'm like, what's this guy want? Why is he following me? And I couldn't get away from him fast enough, really, but because I got 2 years. Why is he talking to me? What's wrong with me? And he kind of cornered me against the car, and he had a big book in his pocket, and his like t-shirt pocket, one of those small big books, and he just, his glasses on, half on his nose, and started reading me this big book, and just telling me things I've really never heard of, and he said he could help me, and and I definitely needed help, and I don't know, maybe I was praying a lot, saying, God, please help me, and Buddy came along, and he kind of went through the first 3 steps with him in his car, reading through this book in his car in a couple of sessions. And he took an interest in me, and I was just like, nobody's really taking an interest in me, so I was like, this, and he knew like what he was talking about, and I liked him, and he had a good message, and I was afraid to ask him to be my sponsor, though, only because, I liked him, and I wanted him to like me, and I had this feeling like if I told Buddy anything about me, he wasn't going to like me. So I was going to a lot of big book studies in Rhode Island. I'm originally from Rhode Island, and I was going, there's a couple there was one in Cranston, one in Providence, and I was going to Attleboro, and there's one in Norton I was going to, and I was afraid to ask him to be my sponsor, because I had no idea what the steps were about, and I just thought it was about all my sins. And so I asked this other guy, this biker dude, leather jacket, big beard, kind of tough looking guy, and I'm like, and I really didn't care if he liked me or not, because and how bad could I be compared to him, and so I got this biker dude, and this biker dude was cool. Every time I saw him he was at all these big step meetings, and every time I saw him, he'd always like, give me the heads up, and hey, how you doing, how you doing, and then, he seemed like he was on a high spiritual level, and he had a good message, and he was always at these meetings, and I figured, I've tried everything else. I've tried the medication, I tried the AWOLs, I tried calling my sponsor every day. I had sponsors with 33 years, and I thought time was such a big thing, and because if you're say a plumber, for instance, and you got 33 years doing plumbing, you must be a really good plumber. You would think, but it's sometimes it doesn't work that way, So, because I don't know, but so me and this guy, biker dude, eventually, we went down, we did this 3rd step prayer, and first he said it. And I said it, and then we said it together, and then, just kind of, that started my journey, basically with these steps. And that's kind of when my life started to change. None of the other stuff really worked. When I started to, I didn't even know what any of the rest of it was. I didn't know why I had to write like names down or anything like that. But that's the next step. I mean, how's that going to help writing names down that I'm resentful at? And he said, just do now and understand later. And I didn't really like when we got to like the third step. When we got to like where before we did the third step prayer, he says, I had to agree with these things. These 3 pertinent ideas. And he also said that I had to make him a promise. He said that after I do this, I carry the message on. If it helps me, I got to continue this for the rest of my life. He said, once you do this, you have to continue doing this for the rest of your life. And I was like, yeah, all right, I agree to that. And then I had to agree to these 3 pertinent ideas, that we were alcoholics and could not manage our own lives, and that's for sure. I couldn't manage my own life. That probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And I wasn't really sure about that one, but I just agreed. I didn't know, if God could relieve my alcoholism or not. That God could and would if he was sought. And I didn't know, because I had prayed my whole life. I had gone to church, catechism, got on my knees and all that stuff, and my life was a mess. So I didn't know if God could and would if he was sought, but I agreed with it. And then we did the third step prayer, like I said, and I kind of underlined something here. It was, basically my problem was self. I kind of self-centeredness, selfishness, self-pity, self-seeking, self-delusion, self-will, all these selfishness, self-centeredness. I mean, that was me, I had no idea what was wrong with me all those years I wasted, and like I said, I wasted so many years in AA just sitting around, hoping like something, those chairs would somehow like transmit something to me, like that metal chair was gonna just fix me by sitting there, because that's what I thought, People said just keep coming, and to like the new people, I mean, you don't really have to understand it right now. Just you have to be willing now, to ask somebody for help and trust that, they know what they're talking about, and without having to understand it, I mean, I go to other meetings too, I go to regular AA, and I go to other big book meetings too, where the people are really cool, and we go out to dinner afterwards, and they're friendly, we're hugging, we're laughing, we're having a good time, but we don't do it this way, it's nothing's, I mean, and I asked the guy the other day, I'm like, why doesn't everybody do this, And the guy says, maybe they don't have to, Mike, maybe they don't have to, but I did, I did have to do it this way, because all that other stuff doesn't work, and when I go out to eat with these people, and I'm working on my social skills a little bit, which I still lack in a lot. But I go out with them, and I try to carry the message there too, because it's great that we come in here and do it. It sounds great. Not so much me, but most of you guys sound great in here. I try to bring it out there, because sometimes I go to a 12 o'clock meeting, and those are difficult sometimes. Guy goes there and he says, I don't believe in God, and he wants to share his message of not believing in God, and how he's got a better way to do everything, and then guys are patting him on the back, and they're hugging, and hey, whatever, that's it. But I go there, and I'm kind of like an outcast. I talk about this stuff, and it's difficult, I go out there sometimes not feeling too good about myself, so basically, to the new guy, I mean, you're in the right spot, This helped me, I no longer suffer from alcoholism. I no longer like. I still have my low moments and little fear and not feeling confident sometimes, but I don't like suffer like I used to. I mean, I was so sad and just like confused and like, what the heck's wrong with me? And now I mean, it's better, you know. And I tell people at these other meetings too, like, I mean, if drinking was better, I would have drank, you know, by now. And if drinking is better, I would definitely drink. It's definitely not. And so that's really, I guess that's basically all I got, guys. Good. Thanks for listening, and appreciate it.